Should we expect a costume every week?
Oh yeah, this is the brand
Set the
now,
bar
you
high.
know. One argument for lead gen that I often hear is how on earth can marketing convert people who are aware of you, because of your content or social events, website reviews, whatnot. Um, so in other words, what a lot of the intent data folks are doing, or ABM saying, hey, these people are kind of interested in you, and therefore now we should go annoy them to buy. So the question is, how do you convert those people without, yeah, going in and intruding on them and doing telemarketing, the email spam, and the
Hmm.
whole LinkedIn spam? So like, how do you then, what's that step to kind of get them to speak to sales, to come to the website and submit a demo request?
Everyone that's listening to this podcast afterwards can imagine how you would feel differently about me and my company if we did most likely what your company's doing right now, which is looking at intent data and then basically spamming people. We don't do that, which is why people continue to come to events every week, listening to the podcast, doing the LinkedIn content, because after you like my LinkedIn post, I'm not sliding into your DM asking for a meeting. I think part of it is that we need to think differently about what business development is, right? Like I produce content a lot, which creates a lot of trust and credibility and awareness and consideration and education and word of mouth and a lot of these good things. And then occasionally, because I interact and I listen and I meet people, and then there's a CMO that before was a VP, and I met her and she was like, I'm really trying to be a CMO. And then 6 months later, she becomes a CMO, and I send her a message that says, hey, congratulations. I remember when you were over here and you said you wanted to be a CMO. I'm glad you reached your goal. And then she says, yeah, actually, I was wondering if we should be working together. Let's set up a meeting. It's just like being a human, not like, and I wasn't even going for a meeting, you know what I mean? I was just saying, hey, like, congratulations. I think we just need to think differently about like that we're going out and hunting our prospects and getting meetings and doing all this stuff that's like old school. So I think it comes through being thoughtful, through personalization, through helping people, focusing on true business outcomes like revenue, not meetings or things like that.
That's great. Now, part two of that, actually, this one ties into what I think Sydney posted today, which is, there seem to be some folks who don't understand that that method doesn't work. And that got me thinking, well, why don't they understand that method works? Like if, they're looking at revenue and they're looking at pipeline, they're looking at pipeline quality and efficiency. So I guess then the other question is, to what extent does lead gen quote unquote work? Or is it because there's some mixture of typically demand gen and lead gen that demand gen can, wash out the bad, or, what's your take there? Maybe they're just not looking at the right metrics. They're not looking at revenue and pipeline.
I think there's two things here. One is that I think people feel and know that it's not working because they're not hitting their goals, but they don't know what else to do instead. So they keep doing the same stuff, right? And so they realize that there's a problem, but they don't know what the solution is. So their solution is, we need to send more emails. We need to buy more tech. We need to add more headcount. We need to hire this outsourced SDR firm. We need to spend more money on ads, right? And so they just add more to an already inefficient, not working strategy, which is what a lot of companies do because they have a lot of money. So they just scale things that are not really working to begin with. And so that's one of the ways, right? And then the second one is that it's not working, but it's blended within something that is working. So they don't see that the lead gen component specifically isn't working. This is incredibly prevalent in larger companies. Smaller companies look at larger companies and are like, oh, Salesforce is running ebook campaigns. Oh, SAP's running a gated, like, come get a quote ad on LinkedIn. Oh, whoever, some investment banking firms running this like fluffy, like, I don't even think you can call it thought leadership. It's just literally just like a fluffy video on LinkedIn ads or whatever. We should do those things. And what they don't see, it's not working for the big company either. The big company just has enough brand that they don't notice it. There's enough demand. The category is so mature that buyers are coming in other ways through dark social or whatever and actually buying. And then they just have these lead gen programs running millions of dollars a year, pushing people through their big marketing automation machine, creating enough attribution where marketing will be able to take credit for stuff. And then they just don't see it.
And then lastly, I think that's a great answer. Thank you, Chris. Lastly, one thing that I've heard from a lot of people who are sympathetic to proper marketing or demand gen, aka Refined Labs methodology, is that, well, they've got the lead gen model in place, and then there's some folks in the company that have a vested interest in keeping that model. And there are people in the company who have a quota and who have commission. And so if you don't give them that type, those buyers to kind of go out and annoy, then because of the quota and commission, then they won't perform and they won't get paid. So what do you say to the folks who say, well, marketing, the goal of marketing is to ensure that SDRs get paid and perform, quote unquote. So we got to run the lead gen model. Otherwise, what about the SDRs? So what would you say about that?
I would say, what about the customer? We got this whole, all we care about is whether our people in our company are hitting our goals, not at all whether or not it's creating a good buyer experience, whether it's helping people or anything. And companies just get so caught up in like, what's in it for me? How is this going to work through all of the constraints in our company? I know that the world is changing, but we're not changing fast enough, so the world's going to have to change for us. And it just ends up in a place where you become less and less customer focused. The thing that I would start with was like, and what everyone should start with is, what does our customer want? And then you can reverse engineer what you should be doing. Something that's so simple, but like, and when you do it, you should start with a blank slate. You don't have to do it that often. It shouldn't change that frequently. Probably at least once every year to 2 years, you should be looking at this, and you should think about like literally start. If we had a blank slate of how we would handle our customer experience when a buyer wants to buy, what would we do? Do we still need that automated email sequence from our SDRs that we've been doing for the past 3 years? Or could we do it a different way? Is there new technology that's emerged? Is there new buyer expectations? Is there a different way to get this done? Has our strategy changed? So again, it's unlearning outdated B2B marketing and revenue practices that are centered around leads and attribution and facilitating low intent outbound sales.
That was awesome. Thank you, Chris.